Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Invictus. I'm excited to share with you some of our character creation we've been working on today. So our first glance is the warrior. If you play a warrior, we want you to expect that you are playing a fighter, type character. You're using sword, shield, two-handed sword, that kind of thing. But more than just that, you are a protector in combat. Your job is to help keep your allies safe. And your job is also to help your allies perform better in combat. So the first ability the warrior gets, which everybody gets, is Nope. That is, if you have a shit die roll, you can re-roll it, right? And they have a limited number of that. If you've seen some of our other videos, you have resources called Daring and Tenacity. Nope costs one of each of those, and it says re-roll, take the new roll. And all characters have that, but again, this comes from the same resource pool that all your other abilities do. The next action that all warriors get is called Recover. What does Recover do? Well, when you're in combat, you have 5 action points on your turn, and you get to take, a number of actions. Then at the end of a turn, you get those action points back. And then in between your turn, so from the end of your turn to the start of your next turn, you can take reactions. And a lot of those reactions are things that you would do to protect your allies. So, for example, there's one that's called Swap, where basically you grab this person, you shove them behind you, and you take their place. So someone's about to attack him, you're like, whoa, get behind me, I've got you, right? Very classic fantasy type warrior stuff. Well, all those things cost action points. If you want to jump in and try to defend someone in a heroic way, intervene in an attack, those cost action points. And so you can start your turn as a warrior without any action points. And so that's not super exciting. So what the warrior has is an ability called Recover. And what they do is they spend 2 of their daring, they get back 2 of their tenacity, they get back 4 of their action points, and they're ready to get back into their turn. Another ability that all warriors have is called Martial. And that is the idea of come on, everyone, let's go forward together. And what you do when you declare martial is you give all of your allies an action point back, or you give all of your allies a bonus to a fortitude save. It's basically the idea of you're being a leader, you're standing up, you're helping them. And then all warriors, because they use a lot of tenacity, start with 1 additional tenacity. And then they all gain +1 additional light wounds. They then get to choose 5 abilities from these 5 different warrior domains. Now, each class has a different number of domains. It's the sort of thing we might standardize at some point, but right now we've said what makes sense, what should this class have, and we've given those abilities to them. So let's take a look at a couple of these domains. Let's scroll down and take a look at Aegis. All right, so Aegis is the first domain that a warrior gets access to. The first ability in that, so remember, you don't automatically get this domain. You have the ability to buy powers in this domain. So if you want to make a warrior that's a much more defensive type character, you buy points in Aegis. So by your first point of Aegis, you get something called Way of the Turtle. And that says before you get attacked at any time in combat, you can gain 2 guard. And the difference between guard and defense is guard is everlasting, whereas defense is 1 attack only. So if you know you're getting surrounded by people, you can activate your Way of the Turtle ability, kind of putting up your shield, kind of getting defensive behind it, and you gain 2 points of guard, which if you had any exposure will eliminate those, or that persists until your next turn, allowing you to turn it into accuracy at the start of your turn just like normal. And so it might be a really good idea to activate Way of the Turtle before you run over and try to defend somebody else, right? The warrior is actually a really intricate dance of managing resources, and this is one of those key abilities. Now, if you've seen our combat system, you know that at the start of your turn in combat, you lose all of your guard. And this is basically guard is your ability, is how much energy you're spending to looking around and waiting until tempo of combat has come back to you. So at the start of your turn, you lose that guard and you're ready to take action. Well, if you've learned Aegis and you learn the second ability, you retain one of those guards at the start of your turn. And this plays a huge role in managing the action economy of that warrior. If you've played, Dungeons and Dragons, you're kind of used to, I swing my sword, I'm done. Maybe if you played the Battle Master in the new edition, you've got stuff to do. But by and large, if you want to be really good with a warrior, you've got to find ways to be creative that the system wasn't really designed for. Whereas in Invictus, we've designed this to be a lot of fun when you're playing a warrior. So having that extra guard allows you to keep your defenses higher, which allows you to then defend more people. And then the third ability in the Aegis tree is intervene. And this is you basically run up to 20 feet, you jump in front of an attack as someone's getting hit. So this is very much that cinematic moment. Imagine Aragorn was watching Frodo about to get stabbed, and if he was close enough, he could intervene, run over, and try to jump in front of that blow. Now, I know Aragorn was a ranger, but I was trying to go for a moment we'd all remember. The next domain that warriors have access to is called Assault. And their first ability in Assault is an improved determined attack. So everybody can do what's called a determined attack. And what does that mean? It means that you can spend one of your action points to gain either 1 power or 1 accuracy on a roll. I'm sorry, 2 accuracy or 1 power on a roll. All right. But the warrior, right? So you normally have to choose either power or accuracy. But the warrior, actually, what they get to do is they can, for free, improve their determined attacks from here into the rest of the game. And they get 1 power and 1 accuracy. So they don't have to choose. They get both. All right. So you can say, you know what, instead of making a warrior that's a little bit, not temperamental, but, not as dependable, I would like to make it more chancy. I'd like a dependable warrior. Therefore, I'm going to go this route. And then as a warrior, you can improve your critical strike hits. So anytime you get a critical strike, and that is anytime you get more than 5 over an opponent, that opponent gains 2 exposure and you gain back 1 guard. And so you can see if you're doing Aegis, this sort of way of defense stuff, and you're doing intervene, trying to stop people from getting attacked, and you have a critical hit on someone, that now sets you up to be able to do some of your defensive powers later on. Wounding Strike is another great one that the warrior picks up. And basically what that says is when you declare an attack, if that attack is successful, you treat the hit as being more severe. So in the first video we've launched on this channel, the wounds video, we saw that the more damage you take, the more severe that wound is treated, right? So your standard person has a wound profile of 3, 5, and 7. Meaning if they take 3 or fewer damage, it's a light wound, no big deal. If they take more than 3 but less than 6, it counts as a moderate wound. If they take above 6 or above, that counts as a severe wound. And so if you do 3 wounds as a warrior, that's normally doing a light wound. But if you do a wounding strike, that's counted as 2 points more. So that's now counted as a moderate wound. And so this is a way of saying, all right, I'm going to do this strike on someone. And if I hit them, I'm really going to hurt them. All right. And so we are now at the point where we're just about ready to put this in front of people and say, here you go. Have fun. Let's see what you can build with your characters. We're right where we want to be there. Okay. So what are some other abilities that we have for some of our classes? With the warrior, right, they've got, let me scroll ahead here onto might. So one of the warrior's abilities they have, and this is a warrior only domain. Some of our domains are exclusive to only some of our classes. One of them is called thump. And so on thump, you basically gain 2 stun on any melee attack. And this could be with a sword strike. This could be with a hammer. Normally you're only doing stun on a hammer or a mace or a maul or something like that. But the warrior's got the ability with their strength, maybe you're swinging the flat of the blade or something like that, to add extra stun to the blow that you do. Another one they can do is pulverize. So you are going to do 2 additional damage no matter what on a roll that requires strength. And so there, are just a lot of different ways that you can build and stack these powers together. Everything stacks by default. So you can make, super powerful initial attack and not have a lot of resources thereafter. All right. Other abilities that we have here. So Path of the Bow. Now projectiles is one of the domains. It wasn't in that initial list, but it's actually open to all characters. So if you learn Path of the Bow and you make a warrior and you said you want some of these powerful abilities, and you can then use like quick release. So that is when you're using a bow, you can use a surge to gain an exposure, but get back an action point. So this is like your way of firing your bow at a faster rate based on how well you release that arrow and how well the circumstances of battle matter. This was just me giving you a quick taste of where things are going. Anywhere you see an XX in here is filler text that needs to be put in there, some more explanations, but all the powers are really coming along. We're feeling really good about where this is going, and we're going to be releasing this on the Discord server pretty soon. So if you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video. If you think someone in your play group might want to see this, share that video with them, right? We're a tiny channel. As you can see, we're 261 subscribers. Maybe you're going to be 262. We'd love to have you along for this journey. We'd love you to see this game and be able to play it. As a reminder, we're going to be at Grand Con in the beginning of September. That's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. We only have 4 seats left. We have 25 seats in total. 21 of them are gone. Invictus, 4 games are running for sure. I think the only seats open currently are Friday night. I do know someone who registered for all 5 sessions. So if you can't get in and you do want to try, send me a message. I'll see if he'll open up a seat for you. He's someone who played with us last year and had so much fun. He wanted to come back and do all the sessions this year. Hey, I really appreciate you. Thanks a lot. Join our Discord. Just pop in and lurk, right? Say hi. We'd love to talk to you later. Goodbye for now.